Hello, ladies. I wanted to hop on here today to say hello. My name is Leah Vermont. I am an energy and feminine embodiment coach. I am also a lot of other things, and I'll share more about that as we go on. I wanted to stop here today to talk about how to stop being offended. This is one of the funniest, I think most transformative realizations, expansion points that I personally come into. People are always commenting about kind of how open I am to information, and how easy it is for me to just kind of listen and learn, and more specifically learn from so many different sources. I already know this is going to trigger a bunch of people, and if it triggers you, this is like the sign to stay put and keep listening, and expand into this opportunity to not be offended. I'll get more into that. But I have learned from the likes of communists, Republicans, liberals. I've learned from, people that believe in all kinds of crazy things that honestly would trigger you if I told you. Even from people who believe in like spanking their children, which is something that I'm personally not for, but I believe that sitting in people's presence and absorbing their knowledge, their insights, their perspective helps add greater nuance to my perspectives and helps me to understand why I feel the way that I feel and why I do what I do. And what I observe oftentimes when I'm coaching someone or when I'm being coached even, and I still have to do this inner work because inner work is an ongoing process, as we know. I notice that what often happens is that when we're sitting in the face of information that triggers us or goes against how we want to view ourselves or how we want other people to view us, or information that contradicts our decided identity for ourselves, we deflect it. And the deflection isn't just like us pushing away the information, it's actually us closing to the information. So there's a contraction that happens there, and as a result it actually feels like the information is hitting us and we're experiencing the information as an attack. And so this is when we start getting defensive, we start arguing. Like recently, I guess I won't go into too many details, but like an amazing example of this is I'm currently being coached in building my website, building my business, doing a lot of things that honestly, like, I won't go into a lot of details because it's really exciting and it's coming soon. But the way that I would personally do them is not the same way that the people who are advising me would do them. But here's the thing. So instead of being offended by the fact that someone else is coming in and giving me advice based on their perspective, or giving me advice, like in the instance of talking to, say, someone that has differing political views as I do, instead of getting offended, contracting energetically, what I do is I will open myself up to receive that information, to receive that perspective from a selfish is not the word, but it's the word I'm going to use here, from a selfish perspective of saying I care more about my expansion and my growth and my deepening of my understanding in this area, in my ability to receive, like expanding my receiving muscles, like working those muscles of being able to receive and just expanding and receiving in a way that allows me to birth something with more ornamentation, more razzle, more dazzle, because it's not just coming from me, it's coming from whatever I'm birthing, is coming from the amalgamation of all of the insights that I've received. And then, like, I have a background understanding, like, in the back of my mind, I trust myself to be able to take in information, screen it for if it works for me, and then apply it the way that I want to. So instead of getting offended, my process looks something like learning how to feel kind of the discomfort of like, I don't know if this fits for me, but I'm gonna listen because I care more about my expansion, my growth, my learning, all the people that will be touched by the learning that I receive, all of the nuances that I collect around the subject, around empathizing with the fact that another person has had their own set of experiences that have accomplished its own set of results that have worked for them, and being able to learn from whatever it is that they've learned, even if at the end of the day, all I learn is that that really doesn't work for me and I love what I'm currently doing. Being available for different perspectives is magical in a sense of like, you're allowing yourself to co-create with another person and open to another person, and you are allowing yourself to be just generally more open to life. I will sit and watch, videos from anybody or content from anyone, because at the end of the day, I trust myself to do my own research, to screen the information myself for if it fits for me and my spirit, and to know the difference between me being defensive and me having resistance to something that I could possibly lean into and learn from and possibly even apply to just try it on. Because at the end of the day, other people's suggestions and advice can't hurt us. Like, us trying new things that exist outside of the paradigm of who we feel like we are and who we've decided that we are can't hurt us. It just contributes to the expansion of possibility about who you decide that you get to be, if that makes sense. So there's no room or space in my life to be offended by anything, because that offense prevents me from expanding in the directions that might be leading to my next level of understanding, my next level of growth, my next level of awareness, my next level of compassion. Being offended prevents you from connecting with the heart and the story of other people, with the purpose, the vision of other people. And I think a lot of times when we listen to people, or when we listen to other people's perspective, we think that if we're listening to them, we have to agree with what they're saying. And if we don't agree with them, we have to tell them. But like, why? Like, what's the point? I'm in charge of what I receive, not what I receive, but what I apply to my life. But listening to another person is just listening to another person. It's really as simple as saying, that's an interesting perspective. I appreciate your input. I've never thought of it that way. And just leaving it at that, and then giving yourself the time and space to really process what they've said, even if it takes not a year, a week, 2 days, 20, 30 minutes to just really assess for yourself. Am I having a reaction to this information that's based on resistance to change? Or am I having a reaction to this based on the fact that I feel defensive? Or is this something that just truly doesn't feel aligned with my heart, with, the core truth of who I know that I am and where I feel like God wants me to be going right now? So yeah, that is a little like basic 101 idea of like how to just stop being so offended. It's just recognize every time that you're in a situation where you're being presented with information that makes you feel defensive. Recognize it as an opportunity, like a gift. Like, look at it as I'm gifting myself in this moment with the opportunity to expand by receiving this person's insight, perspective, and just seeing it as insight and perspective and seeing it as a gift that I get to choose what I do with it. Like, I get to choose what I do with what this person is telling me. And not hearing it as an attack, but like selfishly absorbing it. I only use the word selfish because, I don't know, I feel like it gets your attention. It will get your attention. Selfishly absorbing information with the understanding that it's really your world and you can do whatever you want with the information and you don't have to fight people. Like, you don't have to waste your energetic resources arguing with people, telling them why they're wrong, like doing all this like craziness. It's so not worth it. And in the process, you will learn so much if you can just humble yourself enough to receive. And actually, it's funny, I don't feel like I'm lowering myself down in the times where I'm just listening. You know, my lovely sister is socialist, and I am very much so, like, not over there in that way of thinking necessarily. I love people. I think everyone should care about other people and support other people, and we should be our neighbors' partner. And you know, I believe in community, but that specific approach just isn't something that I resonate with, and that's fine. But I love listening to her because her perspectives on community, her perspectives on, you know, growth and how we can grow in loving our neighbors is something that, you know, I would have never arrived at the beliefs that I have now about community without her. Now, if I would have screened out everything that she said because it initially didn't align with what I thought I believed, because of the way that she was presenting the information. So my sister's very loving, but sometimes people in what we consider what's the word I'm trying to use, like differing groups or groups that have differing opinions than us, sometimes they present their information initially in a way that if we were stuck in our like survival mind, we would perceive it as an attack. But with the information that I know, that like someone sharing their perspective with you, regardless of how they present it, right, is an opportunity for me to learn. I'm not even listening to how they're saying it. I don't care about their inflections, about how their voice raises. And I mean, it's not to say that I will subject myself to being abused. Obviously, like, I'm not gonna sit and listen to someone yell at me or curse at me, but I'm not so sensitive to it to the point where I can't recognize, oh, this person is speaking from their pain point and is speaking passionately about something that they really believe in, and they are seeing me as an adversary. You know, that's not true, because I really am there to learn. Like, I want to learn, and I really am curious. So my only job here is to absorb the truth of what's happening, which is that they're really excited about this. There might be some anger that they're experiencing there. They have a right to feel that. And I have a right to learn and absorb and apply or not apply anything that I want from what they're saying, and just be curious and, you know, glean insights from them and say, oh my gosh, like, you know, I've never considered that perspective. You know, how did you arrive at that point? Or how have you seen these truths that you hold play out in your life? And, you know, I'm curious, like, what do you feel about the other side? Or what do you feel like I could be doing better, or the other side could be doing better? And just like trying it on, like, oh, this fits. Oh, that doesn't fit. Oh, this fits. Oh, I don't know about that. I might have to try that on a little more. So I just wanted to get on here to share that with you because it's truly life-changing when you're able to do this, because you just don't have to fight people anymore and you don't have to waste your precious energetic resources defending yourself, because at the end of the day, you're the only person that makes decisions for your life and you don't have to defend those decisions to anybody. So I hope this was helpful. I did mention that I'm also doing other things now. So in addition to being a feminine energy and embodiment coach, I'm also now working with women in corporate and women-led teams, or just teams of lots of women, or businesses where they want to better support women in seeing their womanhood as an asset to them. Like, in our society, we are taught that being a woman is something that puts you at a disadvantage professionally, or just in the world, and that femininity is something that is like a nice to have, like a nice cherry on top, but it's not the sustenance or the life force that we really need to feel alive, but it is. And teaching women how to tap back into their femininity and use it as an asset to them professionally, so that they can know how to, like I said, like open to different perspectives and use that as a source of power for themselves. Like, a lot of times we see submission as this thing that makes us have to be smaller, makes us have to be less powerful, makes us have to be weaker. But this, like what I'm teaching here, how to be not offended, is a form of dissension. It is a form of submission. It is a form of dropping down and being able to receive, as if you are like a bowl being poured into by like everyone, by life, by everyone around you gets to fill your cup up. And you get to decide what you pour out, what you keep in. And so you're cultivating this elixir within the bowl that is you. That is power. And my vision is an entirely new world for women, where they can see their femininity as something that allows them to differentiate themselves from men, to make them the most magnetic, powerful, beautiful woman in the room by transforming themselves inside and out. So if this is something that resonates with you or feels good for you, I would love to connect with you, and definitely be on the lookout for future resources for women in corporate, businesses, etc. Yes, I'm very excited about this. So thank you for tagging along, listening to this. Thank you for caring about your own inner work, your own expansion. And I wish you a life of expansion and openness and non-offense and juicy, not selfish, but nourishment, a life of nourishment from everyone that you encounter, because you deserve it. You deserve to be informed, and you deserve to be open, and you deserve to live a life free from unnecessary conflict. And imagine what the world would look like if people were not constantly in states of unnecessary conflict and they could just be receiving. Oh my gosh, amazing. So have a great day. Love you lots. Bye-bye.